Let me start with something that may sound a little surprising. And I want you to listen calmly, without fear, just with curiosity. Because this isn't about blaming anyone. It's about understanding something most of us were simply never told. Over the years, I've met many people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s who did everything right. They followed instructions. They took their supplements every morning. They never skipped their calcium. They never forgot their vitamin D. They truly believed they were protecting their bones and staying strong for the future. And in many cases, their bones were excellent. Strong scans, solid hips, healthy spine. But then something else showed up. Not in the bones, in the heart, in the blood vessels, in places we don't usually think about when we swallow those little pills. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Because sometimes it's not what you take, it's how you take it, what you take it with, and what your body actually needs alongside it. Today, I want to gently walk you through 5 very common mistakes people make with vitamin D supplements after 60. Not dramatic mistakes, not reckless mistakes, just small missing pieces. Little details that most doctors never explain. But those small details can make a very big difference over time. My goal is simple: not to scare you, not to overwhelm you, just to help you use supplements in a smarter, safer, more complete way, so that what you take actually helps you instead of quietly working against you. Let me tell you about someone I once spoke with. We'll call him Arthur. Arthur was in his early 70s. Sharp mind, still did crossword puzzles every day, walked in the mornings, ate vegetables, took his health seriously. The kind of person you'd look at and say, he's doing everything right. And every single day for years, he took calcium and vitamin D faithfully, never missed a dose. He told me, I just want to keep my bones strong so I can stay independent. That made perfect sense. And guess what? His bones were strong, very strong. His bone scan looked great. Exactly what you'd hope for. But then he started noticing something else. He got winded more easily when walking uphill. A little pressure in the chest when he hurried. Nothing dramatic, just small signals. So he went in for a heart check. And what they found surprised him. It surprised his family too. His heart valves had become stiff, less flexible than they should be, and some of his arteries looked harder than expected for someone living such a healthy lifestyle. He looked at me and said something I'll never forget. I did everything they told me. How did this happen? And that question stuck with me, because he really had done everything he was told. The problem wasn't what he did wrong, it was what he was never told. Here's the simple way to understand it. Vitamin D has one big job. It helps your body absorb calcium. When you take vitamin D, your body becomes very good at pulling calcium from food and supplements into your bloodstream. That sounds helpful. And it is helpful. But here's the part most people don't hear about. Once calcium enters your bloodstream, it needs direction. It needs guidance. It needs to know where to go. Because calcium doesn't automatically know it belongs in your bones. It just travels wherever blood flows. And without the right support nutrients, some of that calcium may settle in places we don't want it. Not just bones, but soft tissues too, like blood vessel walls or heart valves. Over many years, that can lead to stiffness where flexibility matters most. Now again, this isn't something to panic about, it's something to understand. Because once you understand it, the solution becomes very simple. Think of it like this. Imagine calcium as cars driving through a city. Vitamin D opens the highway gates and lets more cars onto the road. But if there are no traffic lights, no police directing flow, cars start parking anywhere. Sidewalks, driveways, places they don't belong. Your body actually has a natural traffic guide for calcium, a helper nutrient that gently tells calcium, go to the bones, not here. But many people never get enough of that helper, and that helper is called vitamin K2. Vitamin K2 is like a quiet guide. It helps escort calcium into bones and helps keep it away from soft tissues. When vitamin D and K2 work together, it's a team. Vitamin D brings calcium in. Vitamin K2 helps place it properly. Without that team effort, things get unbalanced. And here's the interesting part. Most people over 60 don't get much K2 from food anymore. Years ago, people ate more fermented foods, more traditional cheeses, more pasture-raised eggs. Today, many diets are lighter in those foods, so you might be taking more vitamin D, but less of the nutrients that help manage it. That mismatch is what creates problems, not vitamin D itself. Vitamin D is incredibly helpful, but it was never meant to work alone. So the first gentle takeaway today is this. If you take vitamin D regularly, I recommend also learning about vitamin K2. Not huge doses, just enough to support balance. They're partners, like left and right shoes. You really want both. Now, before we move on, let me reassure you about something. This isn't about stopping supplements, it's about using them wisely. Because vitamin D is still very important, especially as we age. It supports muscles, balance, immune health, mood, bone strength, all things we care deeply about after 60. We just want to take it correctly, and that means understanding the full picture. In the next part, I'm going to talk about another mistake that surprises many people. It has nothing to do with calcium, nothing to do with bones. But it affects how vitamin D even works inside your body in the first place. And without it, vitamin D simply can't do its job properly. We'll talk about that next. Now let's talk about the second mistake. And this one surprises almost everyone because it has nothing to do with calcium, nothing to do with bones. And yet, without it, vitamin D simply cannot work properly inside your body. Not partially, not poorly. I mean, it literally can't do its job. This missing piece is magnesium. And if you remember only one thing from this part of the video, remember this. Vitamin D does not work alone. It needs magnesium to activate. Here's a simple way to picture it. Imagine you buy a beautiful lamp. You set it on your table, you plug it in, you flip the switch, and nothing happens. You check the outlet. It works. The cord looks fine. Everything seems right. Then you open the lamp and realize there's no light bulb. The lamp isn't broken. It just doesn't have what it needs to function. Vitamin D is the lamp. Magnesium is the light bulb. Without magnesium, vitamin D just sits there. Present, but inactive. Let me explain gently what's happening inside your body. When you swallow vitamin D, it's not ready to use yet. Your body has to convert it, first in the liver, then in the kidneys. Only after those steps does it become the active form that actually helps your bones, muscles, and immune system. And here's the key. Both of those steps require magnesium. Magnesium helps the enzymes do their work. No magnesium, no proper activation. So what happens if someone takes vitamin D but doesn't have enough magnesium? Two things usually happen. First, the vitamin D doesn't work as well as it should. Second, your body starts borrowing magnesium from your tissues to keep up, from your muscles, from your cells, sometimes even from your bones. Over time, that can leave you low. And when magnesium gets low, your body sends signals, gentle at first, then harder to ignore. Things like muscle cramps, twitching, poor sleep, feeling tense or anxious, heart flutters, constipation, fatigue. Many people blame age, or stress, or just getting older. But sometimes it's simply low magnesium. I remember a woman, we'll call her Betty, in her mid-60s. Her doctor told her to take vitamin D because her levels were low. So she did. Every morning, very responsibly. But after a couple of weeks, she noticed something strange. Her legs cramped at night. Bad cramps. The kind that wake you up suddenly. And sometimes her heart felt like it skipped a beat. It scared her. She thought maybe the vitamin D didn't agree with her. But it wasn't the vitamin D itself. It was that her magnesium stores were already low, and the vitamin D increased her body's demand. Once she added magnesium, a gentle, well-absorbed form, those symptoms gradually disappeared. She kept taking her vitamin D, but now it actually worked properly and she felt better, not worse. Here's something important many people don't realize. Magnesium deficiency is extremely common, especially after 60. Why? Because we eat fewer leafy greens. Soils contain less magnesium than decades ago. Some medications lower magnesium. Stress uses more magnesium. Digestion changes with age, so even if you eat reasonably well, you still might be a bit low. That's why many people find that adding magnesium simply makes them feel calmer and more relaxed overall. Better sleep, less cramping, steadier energy, and better vitamin D function. If someone chooses to supplement, forms like magnesium glycinate or magnesium malate are often gentler on the stomach. Usually taken with food, nothing complicated, nothing extreme, just supportive. Again, think teamwork. Vitamin D is not a solo player. It works best with partners. First, we talked about vitamin K2, the traffic guide for calcium. Now, magnesium, the activator that helps vitamin D actually turn on. So already you can see something important. Most supplement advice sounds like this. Just take vitamin D. But real life is rarely that simple. The body is a system. Everything connects. And when we support the system, things work more smoothly. Now let's move to something even simpler. A mistake that has nothing to do with biology, nothing to do with chemistry, but can cut your vitamin D absorption almost in half. It's just about timing and how you take it. And when I explain it, you'll probably smile and say, wait, it was that easy. We'll talk about that next. Now let's talk about the last few mistakes. And these are the simplest ones of all. No complex biology, no confusing science, just small everyday habits that quietly make a big difference. Because sometimes it's not what you take, it's how you take it. And how much. Let me start with something most people never hear. Vitamin D is fat soluble. That simply means it dissolves in fat, not water. And this matters more than you might think. Here's an easy picture. Imagine trying to wash oily paint off your hands using only water. It doesn't mix. It slides around. It never really blends. But add a little soap or oil, and suddenly everything combines easily. Vitamin D behaves the same way in your body.